Hey, how's it going everyone? My name is Ranger. Welcome everyone back to a brand new video here today, and we're talking about Sword Online Alicization Episode 7, Swordsman Academy. So, I just want to say one thing in this episode right here. If there's any light novel readers that watch this show and watch my reviews, comment down below please, because this episode today, it's one of those time skip episodes in anime. I'm not a really big fan of them just because we get introduced back into the underworld. Of course, the last episodes were back in the real world with Austin, of course, trying to find Kirto and what's like kind of what the underworld is, what's the purpose of it, how is Kirto doing if he is still alive. And this episode, we get back into the underworld, of course, with Kirto and Igyo and their journey. But it's been 2 years since they left the village, and a whole lot of stuff has happened right here. I just hate the time skips because literally in episodes like this, it's about like 5 minutes or whatever where they explained of we went to this destination, we're finally now in the academy, etc. like that. It was a lot to take in, but like I think they did it really well. Like it was kind of really slow paced because we get introduced into 2 new characters, kind of why they're at the academy, how they got there in the first place, but it was still kind of a real big pain. So I just want to let all of us know that, just because it's either that was how the story is and how it's going and they're actually following like the light novel, or they've skipped so much and SAO is doing a terrible job. So I would love to know that without too much spoiling, but if anyone's like that, that'd be great, please and thank you. But either way, let's jump into the episode right here. So as I said before, this kind of arc that we're back into the underworld has been 2 years since Kirto and Igyo left the village. Of course, they're going to this central place, which of course Kirto's mission is to destroy, you know, kind of the taboo index so that he can get out of here, get back into the real world, and etc. like that. And we even see in this episode that he's kind of like undercover, for example, because he's been here for 2 years. He's kind of having knowledge of what the underworld is like and kind of the movesets, you know, him moving his sword around, if it's kind of like previous games before where he could actually like move his body to like the right way, kind of adjust and etc. like that. And in this episode, we see that they're in like this kind of city right now. Like they're kind of in like not really central. I kind of forget what the city is, but they're into an academy now. They're into a swordsman academy that is really, really popular. And for people to, if you are a swordsman, like if that is your calling, this is the place where you want to be. They've competed in a tournament together, which they have won, and they got accepted into the academy by a new character that we actually are introduced into this series right now, which is Lena. And this is exactly what I mean about the light novel right here, which I wish we would have got more character in depth of who she actually is, because she's almost graduated now. She's the teacher of Igyo and Kirto, them to become fine swordsmen. So we see a lot of her in her character development, which is actually really surprising to me with this. And we haven't seen Kirto actually use his full power, because if he uses kind of his full power in this world, he can kind of be caught and be a lot of trouble, because the taboo index, this place is really strict. Like even if you're late to curfew or if you drop garbage on the ground, you can get serious punishment in this world. So Kirto is trying to keep on a low level right now at this point, but still, just from his teacher and from other people, it's surprising, because in this, you know, kind of show, in this series, Kirto's always been that swordsman to literally like destroy everyone, you know, to conquer and, you know, to be the best swordsman all around. We even see that in him and GGO, like our gun game, he was using a sword to even destroy people on that. So to see other people actually be a higher swordsman than him in this anime kind of changes it, and I like that pace, because it's like kind of Kirto is at the bottom and he's trying to rise to the very top. It's kind of like ordinal scale, for example. Like he was like, I don't know, like maybe 100,000 in the world, and then he became #1. It's kind of like that with the show, which I kind of like so far. It's kind of like a new element, so he's not like really OP at the start. It's kind of like a learning curve for him to get all the way to the top. So that's really interesting right there. Of course, we see kind of like a new part in this anime where, since they are part of the academy now, they're kind of first seeds. Like they're kind of freshmen, for example. I want to say high school as an example. Right now they're freshmen. They're just learning, kind of getting adapted and used to it, learning from, of course, their teachings and their masters, for them to be kind of their higher rank right now, which we see Volo, I'm pretty sure that's what his name is in this episode, which he is the first seed. He's the most powerful swordsman in this academy. Everyone respects him. They all know that he's like this most powerful swordsman, you know, someone to be feared, you know, the strongest of all. And that's kind of what Kirto is trying to, you know, go up to right now, you know, him and Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's a really interesting point. Guess 2 characters there that we get introduced into this episode. We even see kind of Igyo and Kirito's relationship right here, that, you know, since it's been 2 years apart, you know, Igyo knows everything about Kirito. He knows that he is not from this world, that, you know, he's scared that if Kirito gets his memories back, that he'll leave this world all apart and kind of forget about him and Alice, which we know from Kirito that he treats, you know, these AIs kind of like real life people. Like, he has a connection to them, and since he built such a great friendship with, you know, Igyo, he's not going to let him go just because he gets his memories back. Like, even though he does want to get back to the IRL world and, you know, see Asuna and the gang and all that again, he still kind of cares about his friends, and that is his priority. That's just Kirito's, you know, kind of character in general, that he will not let go of anyone doing under the circumstances right there. Of course, we see, of course, more of Kirito, you know, trying to get more knowledge of this world and hopefully to go back, but it's also more character development right there. We see kind of these 2 guys in this episode, you know, have hatred for Kirito, and it just doesn't bother me. We've seen characters like this before in SAO where they kind of pick on Kirito, try to get him mad and everything like that, but I feel like it's going to be any other series. These guys are going to be back talking Igyo and Kirito, but eventually when it gets to this point where they're in the academy and they're probably going to face off against these 2 individuals, they're going to defeat them like it's no tomorrow. Like, I love these kind of cocky people in these anime because they don't understand who Igyo and Kirito are, which they're probably just going to destroy and just annihilate them in general. So those are the 2 characters that we see. I guess a really big part in this episode that we see here is we see Kirito's sword. This is his new sword for the game, which of course we've seen all throughout SAO. This has always been a tradition that he will always have a certain sword for, of course, the game. Of course, you know, the first episode or the first season of the anime, he had 2 swords. Of course, just kind of the plain black sword that he had, and of course, you know, the ice dragon one, which of course he did the dual wielding. You know, season 2, he had, I guess, the lightsaber, you can call it, against GGO and him partnering up with Sinon. I'm pretty sure the movie, it was just kind of the ordinary sword that you get from ordinal scale, and then with this one, it's a brand new one. And this is a really special sword that's really rare because he actually, his sword is actually made of the demon tree from the village. Before they left, he cut a little part of the tree to take with them because someone in the village knows that this you know, blacksmith knows how to create a special sword, especially with just this certain brand. So that's a really cool background that we get right there, and that's exactly what I mean all about this, that I want a little bit more information going with this series. But I just want to say it just looks beautiful, and just of course Kirito wielding it for the first time, not a problem whatsoever. It's supposed to be a really heavy sword, but of course with his abilities he could swing it, he could wield it perfectly, just like he's a master swordsman, like it's nothing. And that was pretty much the episode here today, and that was kind of the background of SAO. Like I said, they did kind of a really slow pacing to kind of see why these new characters are important, you know, the academy, everything like that, but I kind of still wish that we got more of their journey going into, you know, the academy. You know, we see them, you know, going to a tournament, you know, accepted into this place, them staying at certain parts like a farm and everything like that for them to survive, to get to their destination and everything like that. So that was kind of my downfall in this episode. But yeah, just like I said before, I've said this many times in this review, if there's any light novels in here, please comment down below. That would be great for me since I'm only an anime only. But yeah, either way everyone, that was episode 7 of Alicization. I hope you guys all enjoyed my review right here. Make sure guys, of course, to leave a like. This rating, of course, with this episode here today, everyone, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. An episode, of course, I do enjoy, and I can't wait for more SAO to come out. And if you guys want as well, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. But hope you guys all enjoyed, and we'll see you all, of course, next week for another SAO Alicization review. Much love, everyone. As always, have yourselves a wonderful day.